Celluloid Junkie, and he's here to tell us more. Patrick, how bad is it at the cinema? Good morning.
Good morning. It's actually been quite good at the cinema. We've had huge blockbusters like the latest Spider-Man, which took over $1.5 billion worldwide, and we have the Bond film as well and Minions. However, Cineworld has been spending too much money buying too many cinemas around the world. And now that there is a 2-month window of very few big blockbusters, it means that they're just not getting the revenue in to pay off the loans that they accumulated earlier.
So this is more a hangover from COVID that we're seeing now rather than cost of living?
It is definitely a hangover from COVID. Obviously, cinemas had to shut for a long time during COVID, and that increased their costs. But even before that, Cineworld had been spending money buying Regal cinemas in the US, and they agreed to buy Cineplex in Canada, the biggest cinema chain there. Then they pulled out of that deal during COVID, and they got fined. They got taken to the court for breach of contract, and a Canadian judge has ordered them to pay 1.2 billion Canadian dollars. That's $1 billion US dollars, about over 850 million pounds. And they can't afford that. And this is why they're now going into Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in the US, which means they can keep operating, they can keep popping popcorn, selling tickets, and customers won't notice what's happening. But it means that they will have to restructure the debts, and probably the ownership will change. So Cineworld is just the latest in a saga of all big cinemas that are seeing their ownership change as a result of the pandemic and the fallout from COVID.
But Patrick, ever since the invention of television, the prediction has always been the end of the cinema theatre. And it was particularly bad in the 70s, and then multiplexes came in the 80s or so and turned all that around. But again, you know, people at home, they can have their own home cinema now. They can have their own projectors and screens and lovely sound systems and whatever. Is there any indication that we are falling out of love with going to a movie theatre?
Cinema attendance is down. There's no doubt about it. It's down about 25-30% compared to 2019. But 2019 was a record year, and we still haven't seen the biggest films come out yet. We've got Avatar 2 coming out by the end of the year. We've got the next Mission Impossible coming out next year. So people haven't fallen out of love. It's just there's a shortage of blockbusters at the moment. So yes, we had Top Gun. Yes, we had Jurassic World. But right now we're in a quiet 2 months of no major hits coming out. And it's easy to think that that's the end of cinema going, but just like people are going back to restaurants, back into pubs, they are going back to cinema when the big films are there. So they may be cutting back on it a little because of the cost of living crisis, but if you have a really big blockbuster like Top Gun Maverick, people will go out and see it.